had filler in my dick once.
Mm.
I got it removed literally the next day. I don't know why I did it. I was young, you know?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's big, but it could be bigger.
Yeah.
And I got it done. And then literally the next day, I'm like, oh, yeah, it looks kind of cool. But then I'm slowly realizing it looks like one of those wonky fruit. It started to look like a sweet potato, you know?
Right. What, too thick on the shaft?
It was just, yeah, because obviously you can't put filler in the kind of the end,
Yeah.
right? You can only put filler in the kind of shaft. So yeah, it started to look like a real wonky fruit sweet potato. And I was like, and then when I pulled the fork, there was like this huge lump of filler near the end. It looked like a grape underneath there. And I was like, I called up my friend who is an aesthetics doctor, and I was like, I've done something really bad. And he was like, what have you done? And I was like, just have a look. And I pulled my pants down, and he was like, and I was like, just please just dissolve it right now. And he did.
And they got rid of it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. So one day I had wonky fruit, and the next it was just gone. That's the great thing about filler.
Have you ever broken your own dick? Not in the same way, but done any damage?
Yeah.
What have you done?
Just like my foreskin. Like when I was younger, I had a really tight foreskin. And I actually went to a doctor to see if I could get it removed, and then I decided against it. Thank God. But slowly over time, and I used this cream that they gave me, it just became fine. But it still gets tired, you know. She gets tired. She gets tired, and yeah. Sometimes if I overuse her,
Yeah.
then yeah, it gets like kind of. I've split it a few times.
What, the banjo string?
No, not the banjo string. Thank God. That sounds really painful.
Yeah.
Just like the bit around the end, kind of when it gets like, you know, when I go absolutely, you know, going to town, sometimes it just gets a bit, you know, raw and sore, and then it literally just like tears.
Okay.
No, I'm not saying like a full tear, just kind of like, you know, when the corner of your lip cracks, kind of like that.
Yeah,
but then it's hard, like, because obviously you're constantly using it. Then it's hard for it to heal.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, and then you get a boner in the morning, and then it was. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think one guy actually messaged me. He messaged me today, randomly, but I remember his story. He did OnlyFans on the side, and I don't even think he showed his face. He didn't even show his face. But I think he worked for like a designer brand in store. He was like a store manager, and they fired him because someone told them like he did that on the side. And this was in the UK, in London.
Wow. And you can make money off it even if you're not showing your face?
Yeah, there's a lot of people that make a lot of money not showing their face. But I think if you don't show your face, you have to have something spectacular, or you have to really brand yourself.
Right.
Brand yourself well.
Okay.
It's kind of all about branding now. It's not really you could have really terrible content, but I guess it's both. But if you brand yourself really well, over all platforms.
And have you ever really sort of swooned over somebody online and followed them for ages, and eventually got to work with them, and that's been like unreal? Like set your sights on someone and then they've gone
way beyond expectation. Ooh.
Well, not even that, just like you fancied someone online for years and years and years, and it's never been able to like actually meet up.
Yeah.
And then you did, and it's just been so charged.
I mean, it's hard to remember. I have a really bad memory, and there's a lot of people all the time. Let me think. I can't even think. I think Cade Maddox is one of those ones.
Have you heard of Diego Sanz?
Yeah.
Have you ever worked with him?
Yeah. Well, you know what? We've never actually filmed.
Okay.
But yeah, we've met plenty of times.
Because when you were describing your type, I was like, oh, Diego Sanz is very
my type. Yeah, for sure.
He was like, him and a guy called Chris Evans in Hungary.
Yes.
Were very like my porn
Chris
people.
Evans.
So
wow. No, Chris Evans is beyond. Chris Evans is like godly. Chris Evans is what the Greek statues were
Totally.
like created.
Why don't you reach out to him?
I don't think he does anything anymore.
Really?
Yeah, no, he hasn't been around for a long time. Otherwise, I would be all over that.
Yeah, I'd
climb him like a fucking mountain.
Do you love, like you said, you're like a bigger guy? Because you're what, 6'2"?
Yeah.
So you like, that's hard to find bigger people than 6'2".
It is, yeah. But when I do find bigger people, that is what I love that. I love looking up, like my ex-boyfriend who was like 6'5", and I love to just be on tiptoes, you know?
Yeah.
I love feeling like a little boy.
Yeah. No comment on my side. So go back to the very first job that you had, the one that you told me about in Cyprus.
Mm-hmm.
So they put you on a plane.
Yep.
And they flew you out.
Yeah.
And then you got there, and did you know who you were going to be in a scene with? Like, did they tell you
I think they told me a few people. They told me a selection before. I didn't have a choice. They just said these are your scene partners. But I think a lot of them got changed around because things happen and they change them around. But yeah. So when I got there, I landed, and I got picked up by this random guy. He was like just a driver in this van, which I can only describe as like something from Jeepers Creepers, you know? And I was like, what the fuck is happening? I was like, I'm being traffict. I was like, the immediate thought was like, this is all a scam and I'm being trafficked. And he drove me like 2 hours into the night, and I had no idea where I was going, no phone signal. And I was just like, I was borderline wanting to cry because I was like, this guy didn't speak any English. And he dropped me at this house, which was, so there was this house where they filmed a lot of stuff, which it was a beautiful old house on the outside, but on the inside it was literally like something from Beetlejuice. It was pretty gross, but it was an amazing setting for filming because like they had a huge balcony which looked over the whole of like the bay or whatever. But what I didn't realize is the models, we were staying in these nice like luxury apartments which were like close by. But then this random guy in the Jeepers Creepers van drops me off at this like rickety old house, and I'm like, what is happening? And then just shoved in like this living room with a bunch of Spanish boys who spoke no English, and I'm like, I'm being trafficked. Yeah. I was like, this is the end for me. I was like, this is taken. I was like, and I don't have a Liam Neeson.
Like, you told people where you were going. It wasn't like
I told a few of my friends. Yeah, at the time it was kind of like hush hush because I didn't really know if it was going to be my career, what I was doing, and I was still working.
Yeah.
I was working on the ferries, I think.
Something you said in an article recently is that you had your penis insured for £500 a month. Is this true?